Hey Home Base Nation, Chris Manzano here, athletic trainer and strength conditioning specialist here at Home Base. Today, I've got something really exciting for you. It's the first training session in our Human Performance series. So whether you're interested in athletics or tactical performance or just overall functional health, this is the right training session and workout for you. So all you need is one weight. If you've got a few, that's better. The more varied options, the better success you'll have. You could use bands, you could use kettlebells, you could use a dumbbell, you could even use body weight. So whatever you have laying around, even if it's a bag full of water bottles, you can use that during our training session. So we're gonna get started with a warm-up, a mobility movement series, as well as a little bit of activation. And then we're gonna get into three circuits. We'll get into our strength circuit, we'll get into a little bit of a power circuit, and a little bit of a conditioning circuit. And then we'll wrap that all up with a nice cool down stretch session. So let's get started. All right, so we're gonna get started with our warm-up, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go for a quick imaginary jump rope session. So let's just go ahead, start hopping just like you're doing as a jump rope. You can move your arms if you want, you don't have to, but it helps you keep a rhythm. We'll go like 20 to 30 seconds just to get that blood moving. Go ahead, hop side to side, front and back a little bit. You do, staggering stance with your jumps. Get a little creative, move around. We're just moving around. A few more seconds here. Good, and go ahead and relax. And we're gonna go into a few more stretches. So we're gonna do a high knee and then back down. We're gonna stay on that same side with that high knee. So up, squeeze, and back. Up, squeeze. We're gonna go 4 of these. So one more big squeeze, and then with that same leg, you're gonna move it all the way back into that lunge position almost. We're gonna do the world's greatest stretch. So from here, hands down to the front of that foot, or the inside of that front foot. And we're gonna reach up with one arm, back down, open it up on the other side, back down. We're gonna do 3 on each arm. Watching that hand the whole time, keeping our hips forward, our toes are pointed forward, up, and staying down in this position. You're gonna put one hand on the outside, one hand on the inside. You're just gonna straighten out that front leg and back down. So now these are hamstring rockers. On those last 2, straighten out that knee, point those toes up. There you go, good, and step back up. Good, we're going over to the other side. High knee, pull up, going back and relax. High knee, pull up, we're doing 4. Good. Last one on this side. Pull up, squeeze tight, and reach back with that leg into that deep lunge, right into the world's greatest stretch. Reach up towards the ceiling, one hand, back down, same thing on the other side. 3 times on each side. And that body moving, blood flowing. One more time. And staying in this position, one hand on the outside, one hand on the inside of that front foot. You're gonna straighten out that front knee as much as you can. Feel it in the hamstrings, back down, back up. Back down and up. We're doing 5 totals. On these last 2, point your toe up with that knee straightening. Toes up. Good. And then step back up. Next, we're going to do side squats. So all we're going to do is just one out to the side, down as low as you can, and then back up. We're going to do 3 on each side. So we're just pushing back up and out. So you might call these side lunges, side squats. A variation of Cossack squats. We'll do 4 on each side, back up. Go ahead, switch sides, out to the side, keeping both feet, both heels, both toes on the ground, always pointing forward just for this one. And last one on this side, and then back up. Good. Now we're gonna get into a little bit of mobility here. We're just gonna go into a deep squat hold for 30 seconds. Keeping your heels on the ground. You're in a relaxed position, but we're in that deep squat hold. Go for 30 seconds here. Breathe normally. But every time you take a breath, feel that breath where you might feel a little bit tight. Use your elbows, push out on those knees just a little bit. A few more seconds here. Let's go ahead. When you're ready, we're just gonna rock back and forth onto the balls of your feet, almost stretching out your calves just a little bit. Just for a few seconds, we're doing this. Good. And we're gonna stand back up. Next, we're gonna open up our hip a little bit, activate some of those glute muscles. We're gonna do something called hip airplanes. So you're gonna stand up on one leg, and you're just gonna hinge forward just a little bit. And what you're gonna do, pretend there's something hanging down, and you're letting your hip fall, and you're opening up that hip. You can use something for balance. So if you got like a chair or a table right next to you, use it for a little bit of balance. Opening up that hip. So from this angle, this is what it looks like. Dropping that hip, opening it up. So it might help if you've got a hand on your hip, and it just opens up. We're gonna do 6 on this side. I think I got one more. Good. We'll do that on the other side as well. So one leg, slightly bent knee, slightly hinged forward, like so. Opening up that hip is what it looks like from this angle. Opening up and then back, dropping that hip. You should feel the work on that down leg. So from this angle, we got 2 more, 6 total. Opening up the hip. Opening up the hip. Last one. Good. Now we're going to move into just a little bit of activation. We're going to do some plank taps with downward dog. So we're going to get into a push-up position here. And we're going to go, feet are a little bit wide, about, I would say, shoulder width here. And you're just going to tap 1, tap 2, and then push your body away from the floor with your shoulders, like you're almost pushing overhead. So to a downward dog position, butts up in the air, shoulders are pushing up, and then back down to that plank position. Tap, tap, to down dog. We're gonna go 3 more here. And everything should be controlled. Tap, tap. Up, we've got 1 more after this. Here we go. Get that butt down, tap, tap, and reach, push away, drive those palms into the floor, and then back to that plank, and relax. Next, we're gonna just do a few cat-cows, but what we're gonna do are hip-focused cat-cows. So we're in this tabletop position, quadruped position, hands and knees basically. Hands are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips. And what we're gonna do, instead of a normal cat-cow, where we're moving our neck and our shoulders, what we're just gonna do is focus on that pelvic rotation in the hips. And all you're doing, keeping your shoulders locked into place, is just tuck that tailbone in, tighten up that core, and then arch that low back. And you're just gonna go back and forth 5 times. There's 2, and 3, 2 more. Focusing on that core contraction and an arch just in your low back. My shoulders aren't moving. And 5. Good. And from here, all we're gonna do, we're just gonna do a few bird dog planks. So in that push-up position, again, a little bit wide foot, just gonna reach out, lift that other leg up, and then back down. Reach out, other leg up, back down. If that's a little too hard, you could do a traditional bird dog. So we're just doing 5 on each side, like so. This is traditional opposite arm, opposite leg bird dog from hands and knees. 1 more from the plank position. Out, back, out, back. Good. And last one, a little bit of activation. We're just gonna do some toe touches. So we're back in that plank position. Again, feet about shoulder width, and you're just pushing away almost into the down dog, but reaching for one toe, so your opposite toe, and then back. Opposite toe, push, drive through that hand that's in the ground, back. One more time on each side. We're just doing 2 on each side. Good, and back. Go ahead, relax. Now we're ready. Grab a little bit of water. We'll get into our strength circuit. Our strength circuit consists of 4 exercises. We'll do as a circuit about 3 sets each, anywhere from 6 to 10 reps. You know, we'll do unilateral, we'll do bilateral, so meaning both sides, but I'll walk you through it really quick. The first one we're doing is a bent over single arm row. So if I've got a few things of equipment here, but use whatever you have, whether it's a kettlebell, a dumbbell, bands, everything works. And I'll show a few of those variations throughout these sets. But for a single arm bent over row, we're just gonna grab a weight, start by slightly bending over. So we're only hinged at the hips. From your hips to your head, you're in a nice straight line. And all we're doing is just bringing that weight up and then back down. So we're gonna do 8 on each side. So from this angle, here, rowing here, keeping that elbow relatively close to your body. Here. Good. So that's the first exercise. The next one we'll do is a single leg RDL. Now start this without weight, and if it's still comfortable, then you can start adding weight. But we're gonna do 3 sets of 8 on each side. So from here, one leg coming down, reaching towards your toes, and then back up. You don't have to touch them if you can't reach them. If you can, great. If not, no big deal. Keeping that down leg still. So from this angle, here, down, up, down, up. So that's a single leg RDL. If you want to add weight, you can also do that. So whatever the down leg is, that's the opposite side of what you're doing, or what the weight you're holding. So down, tap that weight, back up, down, tap that weight, back up. To make it a little bit more explosive, what you can do is a RDL to a high knee. So you have a high knee, down, reach, explode up, down, reach, explode up, explode. So that's another variation. I'll work through those during all these. The next is pretty easy. We're gonna take a weight and we're gonna do like a RDL, a Romanian deadlift, but we're gonna focus on making it almost like a good morning movement. So we're gonna take the weight, whatever weight we have. So if it's kettlebell, I like to stick the bottom of it right against my belly button. And all you're doing, hinging at the hips, down to where you start feeling a stretch in your hamstring and then explode up. So even though this isn't a very difficult exercise, you wanna be able to move with intent. So move with the focus of almost exploding up, keeping your low back safe by tightening up your core, tightening up your glutes, slowly hinging and exploding. So those are the RDLs. And the last one is just a pullover. So a few ways to do this, but we're gonna lay on our backs like so. We have our weight. This is the most basic and base position that we're in. We're very relaxed. Arms are out behind us or above us. And all you're doing, pulling that weight to over your chest and controlling it back down. So this is a pullover. So keeping that core tight, thinking about keeping that low back pressed into the floor, coming up and back down. To make it a little bit harder, come up into a hip bridge, hold that position while you're doing these pullovers. just like that. Make it just even more harder. Gonna lift your knees to that 90-90 position. So hips are at 90 degrees, knees are at 90 degrees. Low back is pressed into the floor, grabbing that weight, pulling over, back down. Now you have a little bit of instability. You got to keep your core activated a little bit longer, just like so. Good. So we'll get into that circuit right now. So grab a little bit of water, put on some awesome music, get ready for the strength circuit. So that first exercise, like I said, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 all in a row, and then we'll start that over. We'll do that 3 times. So that first one, we're doing 8 reps of the bent over row. So let's get started. You have a weight slightly hinged at the hip, weight's hanging down. Allow your shoulder to relax. Now tighten up that shoulder, pull that weight up. 8 on each side. Now focus on just the control. About 1 second up, 1 second down. We're doing a unilateral movement, so we're activating, or we're focusing on keeping our core tight as well as our shoulder. Good, so that should have been 8 on each side. Now we're getting into those single leg deadlifts, the RDLs. So from here, just slightly reaching over, we're gonna do 6 of these, 6 to 8 on each side. So focus on one side first. Keep maintaining that balance. Good. Keeping that downside glute, contracted core tight, focusing on just reaching towards that toe. You don't have to touch it. Remember, if you want to make these harder, add the weight, add the high knee. Keeping that back flat in a straight line from your hips all the way up to your head. Remember, 6 to 8 on each side. Good. So next, we're doing those good mornings with the weight. So grab that weight, tuck it in right into your belly. All we're doing is 10 of these. We're hinging at the hips until we feel a strong stretch in our hamstring. Exploding up, contracting those glutes, keep that core tight. Awesome. 2 more. Get to 10. And relax. The last ones, we're doing the pullovers. So you have a few options to do the pullovers. Basic, we're just laying on our back. Knees are pointed towards the ceiling. Feet are on the ground. Press that low back. We're going to do 10 of these. Pulling over our chest. Make them a little harder, coming to the hip bridge. Keep that core tight. Focus on shoulder movement and controlling that weight on the way down. Good. And finish after 10. All right. Grab a little bit of water where you got minimal rest in between these. Reassess on how you felt during that first set. Change up the weights, change up the movement, see what makes it a little bit more challenging. It doesn't need to be hard, it just needs to be challenging. And you need to do each rep with intent, with focus, and good form. So we're going back into those single arm rows. So here we go, we're getting started. We've got a very short rest. Slightly bent over, row. 8 on each side. Good. Now, of course, if you have a weight, if the only weight you have is very heavy, you could also do a double hand row, just pulling it towards your chest. So that's also another option. Doesn't have to be single arm. The next round, I'll show a different yet more challenging row that you can do with a single arm movement. So we're going into those RDLs. So I'm going to use a kettlebell here to add a little bit of resistance. So here we go. 6 to 8 on each side. Feel your body. Listen to your body. See how it feels when you're doing this. If you feel comfortable, add that weight. Also just add the high knee, the explosive high knee without weight. Good. More on this side. And switch it up. And if you might notice, one side might need a little bit more work than the other in terms of where you're at in balance. It's a good way to find all those imbalances on your body, whether it's left, right, whether it's a front, back imbalance, or even an upper, lower imbalance. So we're doing 6 to 8 on each side for these single leg RDLs. Good. Next are those good mornings. Minimal rest. Tuck that weight into your belly. Hinge at that hip until you feel that strong stretch in the hamstrings. Float up. Move with intent. So feel the pressure. Feel your abdominals on the bottom of that weight. Use that as just a guide to see how hard you're pushing your belly into the weight and not the weight necessarily into your belly. And explode with intent. Last one here. Good. Now we've got those pullovers. So we're on our backs. Press that low back into the floor. Tighten up that core and lift. Move that weight over your shoulder, over your chest. We're going 10 of these. Again, to make it challenging, come up into that hip ridge, or you can come up into that 90-90. So knees and hips both at 90 degrees each. Good. And rest it up really quick. Go ahead. Grab a little bit of water. See how your body felt with those movements with that second set. We have one more set. We're doing 3 total sets. If you feel you could push yourself just a little bit more, change up a movement, add some weight, maybe even add some reps. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, that's going to help you move in a pain-free movement, but still get a challenging movement in. So here we go. We're going into those single arm bent over rows. And I said I was going to do another challenging variation. So for that, you could do a single leg balance, slightly bent over, almost like that RDL position. And now you're rowing. It was a little more advanced. But you can also do both legs on the floor, slightly bent over, just like we've been doing. Let's just add a little bit more of instability. And just like with the RDLs, the single leg RDLs, the weight is in the opposite side of the foot that's down. So my right foot is down here. I've got the weight in my left hand. Good. Next, we've got those single leg RDLs. So now you can just keep that weight in your hand and up. Add a little bit of explosive movement. Slow down, explode up. last one. Remember, 6 to 8 on each side for these. Adding a little explosion, making it forceful but conscious movement. Using those arms to help. Good. Now we're in those RDLs, or those goat bag swings. Good mornings, whatever you want to call them. Weights in your belly. Belly's pushing into the weight. Hinge. Float. Squeezing the glutes as you come up, keeping that core tight the whole time, up and down. More here. Good. Now we're laying on our backs for those pullovers. Here we go. Pull it over to your chest and back. We're on our backs. Butts are on the ground. Low back is pressed into the floor. Core is tight. Knees and feet are relaxed unless you're in a hip bridge or a 90-90 position. Good. Last one there. All right, go ahead and relax. We'll get a quick rest in, and then we're moving into our power circuit. Power circuit's going to be 4 sets of 2 different exercises. Make sure you're grabbing water, grabbing a towel, whatever you need. As we're resting, I'll show you what we're doing next. So, 2 exercises. We're going to do an explosive squat jump to a hop. So, basically what you're doing, coming down into a squat, exploding up, and then hopping. So, instead of an explosion up and a land, you're going to squat down, explode up, and then just a mini hop. Doesn't have to be very high. You could even do squat down and just a little bunny hop. Doesn't have to be too high. We're going to do 5 of those. Then we're going to go into a kettlebell or a dumbbells or whatever weight you have, or bands, just into a little bit of a push press. So I've got a kettlebell here. All we're going to do is just give yourself almost like a little quarter squat and use, it's going to be quick. It's quarter squat and explode up to push the weight up. So in real time, looks like this. So using just a little bit of that momentum to push that weight overhead. And we're going to do 5 on each side. Just like that. So that's our power complex. So grab a little bit more water. Grab your towel. All right, so now that you've grabbed a little bit of water, you got your towel, we're gonna start that power complex. Remember, minimal rest. Get your weights ready. We're gonna start with those squat jumps to little mini hops. So here we go, we're gonna go 5 of these. 5 of everything basically, and then we're just doing 4 sets. So here we go. And squat, jump up, a little hop. Squat, jump. Now use those arms. Explode up. And a soft landing on that after that bunny hop. Next, grab your weight. You're doing those push presses. We're gonna try to do these quick. So quick, boom, down, up, using that little momentum. So drive through those knees, drive through your heels. And we're doing 5 on each side. And 5 on this side. Good. Minimal rest, right back into those squat jumps. So here we go. Down, explode up. Bunny hop. Good. Back to those push presses. If it's a little easy with these, you can go up in weight if you got it. 5 on each side. Good. Pushing it up. Good. Back into those squat jumps with bunny hop. No more rest. We're halfway through. Good. Push presses. Again, if that weight's too easy, go up in weight or go a little bit deeper in your squat. Using that momentum to get that weight up above your head. Good. Last round. This is our 4th. Here we go, 5 jump squats, squat jumps. Good. A little tough. Here we go, last one. 5 on each side. Good, switch it up. Weights directly above your shoulder. Weights above your head, good. Take a quick breather. Have a little bit of water. Or the power complex. I was meant to focus on those fast movements with a little bit of resistance. Working on explosion. So this last one, we've got a conditioning period or a conditioning circuit. It's very short, about 5 minutes. We'll do it Tabata style. It's about 20 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest for two different exercises. So the 2 exercises are, while we're still resting, is an option between weight swings, so like kettlebell swings or dumbbell swings, or squats or deadlifts. So for these we're gonna do regular kettlebell swings. So if you've got a kettlebell or even a dumbbell, it can be done with either. You're holding the weight just like this. Your feet are just a little bit wider than hip, about maybe around shoulder width apart. And all you're doing is just allowing that weight to swing back and forth here and just up to shoulder height here. So from this side, from this angle, we're just hinging at the hip. Weight is probably underneath our hips and swinging up to a straight line. We're not arching back. We're not going overhead. So coming up, swinging straight line with our body perpendicular to the floor, shoulder height with the weight, and then back down. So just like that. So it looks in real time like this. Now, if you're not comfortable doing swings, you can do squats. So if you have the weight, you do a goblet squat, like so. You can do a deadlift, so the weight's down here, feet are a little bit wider, pulling up. It's all the same motion, just different ways to do it. So choose what works for you for those 20 seconds. The next one we're gonna do our shallow lateral hops. So we're here, we're just going back and forth. I call these skater hops. It's about, I'm jumping maybe only about 4 feet apart, not too far apart, exploding out of each one, just like that. 20 seconds, 10-second rest, move back to those kettlebell swings. We're gonna do that for about 4 minutes. So go ahead, grab a little bit of water. We'll get into it. So I've got the timer here, started the timer. 5 seconds, we're gonna get started. So get your weight, get ready. You're in position 3, 2, 1, and start swinging or lifting. And during all this, you're breathing as best as possible. We're not focusing on reps, focusing on quality movement. Good, go ahead, rest. 10 seconds, doing those lateral hops. From here, shallow, remember 3, 2, 1, and hop. Shallow, explode out, try and make it a little quick. Using those arms to pump you through, explode out. We're not looking too much for height, and rest. Going back to those kettlebell swings, weight swings, dumbbell swings. 3, get your weight, 2, 1, and go. Remember, straight line, we're not arching our back. We're not leaning back from our neck to our feet in a straight line, perpendicular to the floor. 2 and 1, good, rest. Those lateral hops. Get in position in 3, 2, 1, and hop. Back and forth, shallow, not for height. So you could go a little bit quicker like this. Pushing off with your hips. Good, and rest. Next are those swings, or if you're doing the deadlifts, I'll do the deadlifts. So here, 2, 1, in position. Moving with intent, understanding and thinking about all the muscles that are contracting right now to move yourself down and up, and rest. Going into those lateral hops. Almost there. Doing great so far in 3, 2, 1, go. Remember, shallow and quick. Explode though. And rest. Almost there. Grab your weight. I'm gonna do the squats with you if you're doing squats. 2 and 1. If you're doing swings, keep swinging. If you're doing deadlifts, keep doing deadlifts. Good, and rest. Last one. Last of the lateral hops. 2 and 1. Make it good. Make it count. Make it quick. Make it explosive. Exploding out with your hips. Pushing with your knees. Almost there. Good, and rest. Awesome. And that was our sport performance, human performance training session. Now we're going to end with a nice, easy cool down stretching. So we've got After you've got a little bit of water, use your towel. Meet me on the floor. We're going to do just a little bit of stretching. So we're going to get into a half kneel position right here. Front toes pointed forward, hips are squared forward, just like this, like so. My hips right here, they're pointed forward like headlights. But what I want to do is tuck that tailbone underneath. So I'll do this side first. Tuck that tailbone underneath and then move your hips forward. We're not stretching like this. We're not doing a deep lunge stretch. Just tuck that tailbone, hips forward. You'll feel it in your front hip or your hip flexor a lot sooner. And we'll spend a few seconds here just holding that. Starting to think about your breath and controlling your breath. In a few seconds, we're going to add our arms overhead. I'll move this way, so keep your arms overhead. Take a few deep breaths, keeping that glute and that tailbone tucked. And you're going to go to the side that's opposite of the knee down. So my left knee is down, I'm going to the right. Now take a few deep breaths here. Deep breath in, feel it fill up in your rib cage, feel that stretch in your shoulders, feel it in your obliques. You should be feeling it in your hips too. Come back to center, relax. Go ahead, switch sides. I'll do this side. Now, again, tuck that tailbone, move those hips forward. Feel that stretch a lot sooner. Spend a few moments here, controlling your breath. Good. A few seconds more. Keeping that tailbone tucked, those glutes tight. Reach up. Keep reaching up, high to the ceiling. A few deep breaths. Now bend to the opposite side of that, where that knee is, that down knee. Toe and hips are still pointed forward. Deep breaths in, feel it in that other side rib cage. Feel it in your obliques, down into your hip flexors. Good. Come back to center and relax. Next, we're going to do a few adductor rockers. So we're going to get into a tabletop position, our hands and knees right here. And we're just going to bring one leg out to the side like so. So if you're looking at me from this way, this is how it should look. And all we're going to do is bring our butts down onto our heels and then back up. So allowing that hip to drop here, feeling that stretch in your groin, the inside of your thigh. We're just going to rock back and forth 10 times. Controlled, we're not bouncing, controlling ourselves down, we're controlling ourselves up. Breathing normally throughout this motion. And once you've gotten 10, go ahead, switch sides. Breathing and rocking. Now at this point, your breathing should be more under control. Should be a little bit more regular. Heart rate might be still elevated, but that's okay. A few more here. Good. Go ahead, rest. We're going to stay in this tabletop or this hands and knees position. You're going to take one arm, thread it under your other arm, bring that shoulder towards the floor, and allow the weight of your body, your torso, just fall on that shoulder. Now, if this is too much pain, take a little bit of that weight off. But you should be feeling this in the back of your shoulder. And just breathing here. Take 2 to 3 deep breaths here. Feel that breath enter your shoulder, exaggerating that stretch a little bit. Exhale, bring that shoulder closer to the floor. Good. Back up. Other side now. Same thing, 2 to 3 deep breaths. Good. And relax, come to center, and walk yourselves back up. So Home Base Nation, I really hope you enjoyed that workout, that training session. It's great for performance overall. Has a lot of unilateral work, a little bit of rotational work, side to side work, front to back work. It's very good. It's very functional for everyday life, as well as the athletic population or the tactical population. So stay tuned for more of these. We'll make them a little bit more advanced. We'll make them a little bit more specific. And we're really excited for what's to come with the Home Base Human Performance Lab. So again, my name is Chris Manzano. Really hope you enjoyed that. If you have any suggestions, feedback, please contact us. And please feel free to check out Operation Health at Home. We got a ton of awesome content from our dietitians, our other strength coaches, as well as our mental health providers to provide you all the resources to help you in your health and wellness journey. So we'll see you next time.